So during Christmas vacation, we found some horrifying news. Prosecutors say the police officer who killed 12-year-old Tamir Rice outside a Cleveland recreation center last year would not face any criminal charges. Neither would the other officer who was with him. An Ohio grand jury decided not to indict Officer Timothy Loehmann or Frank Garmback. And the prosecutor, Tim McGinty, said, given the perfect storm of human error, mistakes, and communication by all involved that day, the evidence does not indicate criminal conduct by police. Now, a lot of people across this country were heartbroken after that decision. I was one of them. Because if you watch this video, and I tried. America, I know the critics out there will say that Richard Fowler's biased, he's racist, he's a race baiter, he's up Obama's butt. You could say all that crap you want to say on Twitter. That's cute and that's fine and all well and good. But I really tried hard. I watched this video over and over and over again, and I tried hard to figure out, where did the prosecutor come up with this rationale and this reasoning that Tamir Rice, and there was just human error, nothing else happened. No, nothing else, just human error. I thought about it, I watched, I prayed, I looked again, and I kept watching. And I said to myself, right, whatever happened to police officers, like, I mean, I know this is not the movies, but whatever happened to that deal of police officers, like, when they see somebody with a gun, they're like 20 feet away and they open their car door and they have their behind their car door with the guns. They're like, hey, freeze, put your hands up, drop your weapon. Remember that? Like Lethal Weapon 3, Lethal Weapon 4, Lethal Weapon 8. These police officers drove up on a sidewalk right next to a rec center, just drove up, right? They see this kid there, and instead of saying, hey, freeze, drop your weapon, they say, hey, freeze, drop your weapon. They shoot him twice in the face. In that order. 2 seconds. 2 seconds, America. 2 seconds. I'm pretty sure, I'm about 40,000% sure that in police academy school, they tell you to wait more than goddamn 2 seconds. And this prosecutor, and everybody knows, I've said this on air before, prosecutors can get an indictment on a ham sandwich at midnight and when they're half asleep, because there's no defense in grand juries. It's just a prosecutor presenting their evidence. Did the prosecutor truly present all the right evidence? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. Did this prosecutor truly do what his job is? And the answer to that question in America is simple. The answer is no. And then this is what blows me about these cases, because every time it happens, they paint the victim, whether it be Michael Brown, whether it be Eric Garner, whether it be Tamir Rice, whether it be Trayvon Martin. They paint these young men as animals. This is not a zoo. These are human beings. Just because you have prejudice, right, and you walk in with your unconscious bias about African Americans does not mean you could use that as an adequate defense to justify shooting a 12-year-old in the face. He was big. He had a size 36 pants. I don't give a damn if his pants was size 48. What happened to stop, put your hands up, drop your weapon? None of that. They decided to walk up, shoot him in the face, and ask questions later because that is what they believe. It is based on preconceived, it is based on unconscious bias about what they feel about particular people because how they look, America. And that is wrong. Our nation is at a tipping point. I have said this over and over and over again. There's folks out there who are like, oh, well, this Black Lives Matter movement is just done too much. They've gone too far. That's bull. And you don't have to look far, right? Because if Black Lives mattered, and let's not talk about police shootings for just a second. Let's talk about what's happening in Flint, Michigan, where a poor community, majority blacks, are being fed water with lead in it, and everybody thinks it's okay, including the governor. I don't know. There's lead in the water. We didn't care to test it. Would you do that if they were white? I mean, I'm just asking the logical questions here, America. We have a problem. And I know people are like, oh, well, Tamir Rice is an isolated incident. Oh, well, Eric Garner's an isolated incident. Laquan McDonald's an isolated. How many isolated incidents do you have to realize that we have a larger systemic problem and a breakdown of communication between communities of color and the police department? And I'm not saying all police are bad, because I don't believe that. Because I will tell you right now and be straight up with you, if my house got robbed, if my sister got raped, if my mother got murdered, the first thing I would do is call the police. And I expect them to do their jobs. And I know they'll do their jobs. So I'm not saying that I hate police. What I'm saying is there's biases that people walk into the job with that we as a society, we have to work to break them down.